The hard faith. 1. A storm's coming, my great-grandmother says in a dream, her hands hard against mine, worn brass knobs of a Franklin stove, her eyes the blue on the edge of a dust storm, my mother's eyes bordered by a bruise, mine the edgeless sky. 2. Great-grandmother was 38, a bandana tied to her face, boots sealed with tape and tar. She bears down on a shovel. 1 shovelful of dirt, 2 more of dust. Dust that turned the Platte River black. Strangled wheat filled her boy's lungs. 3. My grandfather doesn't move, but collapses, a mountain falling under his own weight into his fist. He catches my mother in the face, hurls her 98 pounds into a kitchen counter. His leg shifts in striped coveralls to kick. I throw myself between, wrap myself around her. 4. Mother packs a bag, 2 towels, my stuffed frog, Ricky's G.I. Joe, and her best church dress. Grandpa still roars across the yard. Where do we go? Ricky squeaks. My mother's hands shake, but her eyes lightening. Any goddamn place but here. 5. Great-grandmother digs a 4-foot grave. I use my body as a shield. Mother walks us 8 miles across the desert in July. 6. Great-grandmother looks down, eyes neon. When I ask, how can I survive? This fear buries in my bones. How will I bear this? 7. Lean into the storm, foot on the shovel. You've done this before. Eyes forward. This is the hard faith. Thank you.
Yes, I think so. Whoa. Well, it's a little tipsy. It's tipsy. Thank you, Mr. Engineer.
You want me to come up there as well?
Yeah, Chuck, why don't you help as well? Let's get everyone up there. Yeah. Have a party at the mine.
Thanks, you guys. I haven't been doing a lot of writing lately, but I'm reverting again to a chapter from my memoir. When you write a memoir, you write about your life, and so far, usually when I read from my memoir, it's been this humorous stuff, but there were times in my life when there was not too much humorous going on. So this is one that is maybe not so funny, but anyway. Also, I'm going to be speaking. Is it for the library, Joseph? On December 9th, from 7:30 to 8:30, right here. And I'm going to do a piano and reading thing. Oh. Okay, this is called A Bad Seed. The Bad Seed, a 1951 book by William Marsh, is about Rhoda, a young girl who knows no difference between right and wrong. Precocious and charming, she murders with impunity. Through a series of hideous events, Rhoda's mother, Christine, realizes she has passed on a bad seed that she herself inherited from her mother. Christine's guilt over the legacy passed to Rhoda ultimately leads her to commit her own crime in a monumental effort to make this situation right. Rhoda's spiraling ringlets, engaging smile, and ornate dresses are grounded by shiny black patent leather shoes, each sporting a golden buckle by the toe and a bow on the strap. Large half-moon cleats on the heels command attention with their clackety-clack sound, a sound the reader hears whether Rhoda is skipping across the hardwood floor of her living room or beating the Dagley boy to death with a shoe heel. The book was highly sensational and quickly topped the bestseller list. Mama read it and could talk of nothing else. I read some of it, but it gave me nightmares, so Mama said to wait until I turned 10. For my birthday, I received a pair of exquisite black patent leather heels, or shoes, that were just like Rhoda's. I first wore them 2 weeks later when Daddy and Mama were married for time and eternity in the Salt Lake LDS Temple. Daddy had joined the Mormon church 2 months before. Mormons baptize children when they're 8 years of age because they're considered to be accountable then. My Roosevelt ward held baptisms the beginning of each month, and since my birthday is on the 20th, I missed it for May, and I was 8 but not yet baptized. At the temple, we were told I couldn't be sealed to Mom and Daddy unless I was baptized, so a man had to fill a green tiled pool just to baptize me. He frowned, handed me a white gown, and sent me to get dressed. I was alone because Mom and Daddy were in the temple session, and Mary was in the nursery with Sherry Kay, my baby sister. Apprehensively, I took the robe and headed down the long hallway to the last dressing stall. The sound of my shoes going clackety-clack on the concrete floor. I don't recall the actual baptism, but I remember the man grumbling afterward. "You've tracked water clear back to the end of that hall, the last stall." Although I felt bad about the mess I made, I refused to feel anything but elated. My sins of swearing, sassing, stealing, and playing doctor with my friend Nancy, those sins were washed away in Heavenly Father's eyes. What a gift. I resolved then and there not to accumulate any new transgressions. Sherry Kay and I were reading in her bedroom on a Sunday morning. I finished the book and then used it to help build a house. So far we had the walls and part of the roof done. Sherry Kay picked another book and said, "Mother." The book was Are You My Mother? "You're so smart, Sherry Kay." Just then Mama opened the door. "Diane, you need to pick up the books and hurry and get ready for Sunday school." Church. It always ruins our fun. "Mama, do we have to go today?" I whined. "Let me and Sherry Kay stay home and play." "No, we all have to go." "But why? Please don't make us go. I hate it. We all hate it, and I don't know why any of us have to go." "You little brat, you'll go because I say so," she snarled. "Okay, Mama, I didn't mean..." Then she smacked my face, hard too. I cried out and covered my head. Reaching down, she grabbed one of my shoes that lay amid the pile of picture books. As she waved it menacingly at me, the morning light shone through the bedroom window and rested on the heel's silver cleat of my shoe, an omen of what would follow. I'd never seen her like this, red face, flaring nostrils, fiery eyes. "I'm sorry, Mama, I'll be good, I promise." With her left hand, she clutched a handful of my curly hair and yanked my head back. Her right hand held the shoe, gripping it so tightly that her knuckles were white. She swung back and struck me squarely on the mouth, the metal cleat grinding deeply into my bottom lip. I fell backwards from the force of her blow, my head loudly banging the wall. "Die, die," Sherry Kay cried, her arms reaching out for me. Abruptly, Mama released my hair, dropped the shoe, and with one motion lifted Sherry Kay, spun around, and headed out the door. How did I let this happen? After getting baptized, when my sins were washed away, I promised to be better. Now I've sassed Mama and caused her to do this to me. Bad seeds, me and Rhoda. Mama often ignored me or scolded me, but she'd never hit me. Didn't she dress me better than other kids? Curl my hair just so? It was because of her that I had the beautiful shoes. Daddy said they were a waste of money and wanted Mama to buy saddle Oxfords with rubber soles so they wouldn't ever wear out. Now this. I began to put away the books as blood dripped a small red flower on Curious George's head. I ran into the bathroom to get toilet tissue. My swollen lip throbbed and my cheek stung from the slap on my cheek. Slap. As I looked in the mirror, I was astonished to see Mama's handprint on my cheek, and it looked insignificant compared to my lip. A large purple-blue welt the size of a golf ball. I returned to the bedroom, put the books away, and hurried to get ready for Sunday school. Then Mama was standing in the doorway watching me. Ashamed, I covered my face. "I've picked up all the books, Mama, and I'm nearly ready for Sunday school. I'm sorry I sassed you." She came closer. "Let me look at your lip." After examining the cut, she said, "You don't have to go to church today, it's too late." What should I do, I thought. If I don't go, Heavenly Father will be angrier at me. I continued getting ready and put my shoes on last. They felt dirty, hot, mocking. With priesthood meeting being over, Daddy came to get us. As I got into the back seat, he stared at me, said nothing, just looked away. Mary got in and didn't look at me. Mama came out last, carrying Sherry Kay. She put her in the front seat, climbed in, and angrily slammed the door. No one said a word. Sister Hunsaker, my teacher, asked what happened to my lip. I told her I was standing behind a door and Mary didn't know it. When she opened it quickly, it hit me in the mouth. Now I hated my shoes. Just looking at them made me feel sick, so I put them in their box, took them to the basement, and threw them into the furnace just as Rhoda did hers in the book. I never again resisted going to Sunday school, and I tried hard not to provoke Mama with my sassy mouth. A year later, she announced that none of us need attend Sunday school again, ever. Mama asked why, and Mary asked why, and Mama replied, "The Mormon church isn't true. I hate it. In fact, we all hate it."
Hey, I haven't been doing this very often, but I kind of made an effort recently to start doing it more frequently. I've got a couple that are just short that I'm going to get out in my time. This first one is called The Landscape of You. I have no need for that. You look tired, girl. The lines on your face from annual frost wedging sprout tiny trees and assemblies of lichens that blot the pages of your book like carelessly spilt ink. But it's not worth crying over. I tried to read those pages, those hieroglyphs, penned in a foreign and dead tongue. I tried to read the landscape of you, where split rocks harbor still breathing mammals at the base of your collarbone, where the aspens quake and make homes for hawks on the crest of your bony hip, where the trickles of water babble softly but not unheard, and the trout jump like living jokes in the cracks on your tongue. Really, I tried. And the closer I looked, the more I realized that you are not my native land, that I was an invasive species there, and I could feel the God in you crying out to abolish the man in me. So I tore down the shack I had built at the border between you and I watched as the trees regrew where I used to harvest my firewood. And I saw the deer bed down as the sun set behind the cold and silent mountains that fringe your hairline. Those cold and silent castle walls that I could never truly breach. We're waiting on the internet here. This next one is called Endless Squall. The wind is always blowing here. It rushes down out of the canyon like a cavalcade of rhinoceroses. The cyclists struggle against it, the pedestrians have to lean into it, and motorists spend $2.90 extra each time they gas up in order to compensate for it. The trees on the eastern edge of the cemetery are all bowed to the west, and their leaves don't fall, they're ejected like screaming pilots from flaming cockpits at wonky angles until they crash into the headstones below them. All the headstones are weathered prematurely. Names and dates and histories erased. While below, wrinkled shells in Sunday suits sit in metal boxes, pretending that some shred of them will last forever. Thank you. Last one. Again, waiting on the internet, sorry. This is called Skinny. I was born tall and thin and pink, like a bloody steak. I cried until I could run and then ran like a lunatic, screaming peals of laughter and destroying without guilt, as kids do. And still I was skinny. I was skinny in elementary school. The other kids took to football and dirt bikes. I was still pink, like an underripe tomato. I was skinny in middle school. When the other kids started to build muscle, you could have played my ribs like a xylophone. You still could. I grew up tall and thin and frustrated like a weed. I never fit on public buses or the little plastic desks at school. My feet stuck off the end of my bed. They still do. I slouched and hiked my shoulders up so as not to obstruct others' line of sight. I still do. I was skinny when I first fell in love. What she saw in me, I can't say. I was tall and thin and crooked, but I wanted so badly, just for once, to be the right shape for her. She was rather short and had caramel skin. We made an odd couple. I grew up tall and thin, a square peg in a world of round holes. I'm skinny today, a pinkish wisp with a skinny soul tucked away behind dark sunglasses. I was born skinny, and I'll probably die skinny too, and make a tall, thin corpse for a much shorter, wider casket. Thank you.